class. So let us continue with our concepts in second module. So are these concepts covered in the previous class, or we need to cover? This was also done. Yes. Is this all the topics were covered in the last class? One of you just comment on this. You guys are listening to my words. Say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. There are three. Okay. Thank you so much. Now, normally what happens when we look into any kind of constraints in any application, there are majorly three types. The first is your domain constraints, which tells about the implicit properties of your data type, size, and so on. If you are violating with your data types or with the size, then obviously there will be a violation, right? So next comes the say entity integrity constraint. Entity integrity constraint means, or it is the constraint based on for your specific table or a specific relation. So what are the different types of constraints we have for a specific table? Maybe a primary key, maybe a foreign key, maybe a kind of not null or unique constraint or a default constraint or some cascade or updating any other or default values as well. So all those will fall in entity integrity constraints. And last one entity is all about your business rules or application based constraints. So application based constraint means for any application, if we try to adapt to some kind of technique or a logic or idea for the data. One simple example is your USN. For declaration, we just type or just say data type is just varchar of a specific size. But when we try to insert the values, we try to insert the values with some specific style. Okay, that style is all about your application based or your business rules. Okay, so mobile numbers are stored in that manner, your pin codes are stored in that manner, all that, all some kind of informations, right? So that is your third type of constraint is say application based or business rules constraint. Apart from that, there are other constraints which we do not fall in any of these constraints. Major are these three constraints. So some other constraints like your data type, domain constraints, which we can specify the specific, we can create enumerated data types. So that all also additional type of constraints which will not fall in these three major type category of constraints. Okay, so the all are called as other type of constraints. So just remember or just download this page and keep for the future references for our future uses. So what we will do, we will try to have this page as a reference every time and try to work on the queries with this particular schema. So the major interest on the schema along with some kind of sample values which we try to work on. So how things are being related, how data from one particular table is related with the other, and how the data are being worked on specific constraints, all that we will try to understand. But when we write queries, we require all these values, or rather the mainly the attributes and tables. To relate from one attribute with the other, we may require this. So this slide you can just copy and keep for your future references, so that whenever we are working on queries, we will try to use this slide. Alright, so today I will continue on with the operations on update operations on relations and what are the different violations on each of those operations. Okay, so when we try to do any operation on the data with respect to the, now imagine I have constructed the relationship of all the data of all the tables. Okay, now we need to understand that when I'm trying to do any kind of operation like insert, delete or update, which can give you me the correct results, where I'm going wrong, or I need to have a clear picture of how my data will store when I will get errors or how to fix my errors. You understanding? So we have to understand our complete system before we could insert the data, or we should try to educate the people who is trying to insert the data of a specific application. Okay, so our intention of learning these three operation is we need to understand when can we get an error when we are trying to insert, what values are accepted, what value or what are the different cases when values are accepted, and what are the different cases when a value will not be accepted. Same way when we try to do a delete operation, what are the things we need to consider, and what are things and when we can delete when a successfully delete operation works. So also with respect to modification, when can we modify a tuple and what are the different procedures to modify a tuple. All these operations we need to understand. Remember, we are not trying to create and insert the data as of now. We have to understand clearly, or we should have a proper visualization of the data, how exactly the things are related with respect to the operations. Okay, when I try to insert, how or which is the correct procedure to insert, which is the correct procedure to delete, which is the correct procedure to modify. We will try to understand when we may get proper errors or when we may get the data successfully entered. Understood what is the concept behind what we are talking on today? Yes? You
Yes,
guys might have been, yeah, thanks. You might have been observed that when we are trying to do insert, I was doing something first. Let me look into the flow of the first how I have created the table, in what way the attributes are there, what are the different data types of attribute. First, I used to describe the table. Can you just imagine or just visualize that this class were all present? Just understand first, whenever I'm trying to insert the data, I would recross or verify that, okay, in what way I had been created the data. Okay, in what flow I had the attributes. Then I will try to, I used to insert the data accordingly. That means what? If I mean earlier before I could try to insert the data, I will try to understand, okay, these are the attributes in this flow I have created and what is the flow I need to maintain for inserting the records. Okay, so that is how I planned for executing the data in our database. So moving on, so what are the different things? Try to observe each one word what I have written here. Integrity constraints should not be violated by the update operations. Integrity constraints means when I'm trying to do any operation. So primary key value I have. So let me talk about this holding some, yeah. Now imagine in one table T1 I have primary key with the value 1, 2 and 3. Okay, this is V1, this is V2, this is V3. Now same way I have table 2. So this is table 1, this is table 2. Here I have foreign key. So foreign key value 1 is 1, V2 is also 1, V3 is imagine 2, V4 is 3, and V5 is 2, something like that. V6 is again 1. Okay, this is primary key table, this is foreign key table. Now if I am trying to update some records, see that my integrity constraints will not have any effect. Imagine for update I did not set any constraint as cascade. Imagine I did not write any cascade constraint for foreign key. Now when I try to do updation here, imagine 1 I want to change to 4. If I would have said update cascade in my foreign key, if I update this primary key 4, this 1 would automatically turn 4 because I have set the constraint as cascade for updation. If I have not set this constraint, then I cannot do this update operation to 4. So what I need to do now, there are two ways. One, to drop this value from foreign key first, all 3 rows to be updated, or drop first, then update this one value to 4, then reinsert this value with 4. Of course it is a tedious job, and we may lose some data, we may forget some data. So in order to not to have this overhead of doing things, we try to do update cascade automatically at your foreign keys design itself. So the moment I update here to 4, automatically 4 updates here. Okay, so this constraint I need to follow when I'm trying to update the record. Now sometimes you may even ask, what if I update the value of table 2 directly, not touching my table T1? You may even have the doubt. Now imagine I am trying to update the value directly of V1 from 1 to 4. Definitely that will not have any effect on that insert or that update operation, because it says 4 is not at all present in the value which you are trying to refer in primary key. So obviously the updation will not work. So we are trying to violate the referential integrity constraint. Okay, you understood? You understood? So integrity constraints should not be violated by update operations. So several update operations may have to be grouped together. We can update operations multiple wise, let me write this, say select update now, update table name, set attribute is equal to some value. If I try to complete here without any or if I can say where department number is equal to some, say 1, if I write like this, sorry, can you guys see this clearly? Let me delete this. Yes, can you guys see this? Yes, can you guys see this?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
when I write update table name set attribute is equal to some new value, or say if I try to write something Yeah, in text box now. So attribute is equal to some new value. Let's say new value. Okay, so if I try to write like this, so what happens here? All department number 1 will, if I try to put here semicolon, what happens? If I try to delete this, what happens? All values will be automatically updated. Correct? So I don't want to do that. So I will write the condition where the number is equal to 1. So all values pertaining to department number 1 will be updating to new value like this. Understood? Any more doubts before we go ahead? Are you guys understanding? Yes? Yes? Any more doubts before we go ahead? Now updates may propagate to cause other updates automatically. This may be necessary to maintain integrity constraints. See, if I try to maintain the integrity constraint in a proper way, defining on update cascade or on delete cascade or on update or say on delete set null or on delete default, if I have that constraints, automatically updates will propagate by themselves. Okay, so we have to necessarily maintain that constraint, only then it is possible. Okay, so let us try to observe the things how we can perform the operations. So first is update operations, then what are the possible violations? Now in case of integrity violations, several actions can be taken. Several actions means cancel the operation that causes the violation. It means what? I will never consider to have any violation. So cancel the operation that causes the violation. Either I can say restrict or reject option. It means I can say on update restrict. If I write like that, it means that updation is not possible. Okay, it will never update itself in future, something like that. So when I'm trying to create data, I can set the constraint as restrict, on delete restrict, on update cascade. That is the best option what I will quote. See what happens if I try to write if I try to write update cascade, delete restrict. If I try to have this, so what happens? On updation it will be possible because primary key when you update, foreign key automatically updates. Okay, but when I try to delete, you are trying to put a restriction saying that I cannot delete that data. Understanding? So deleting will always give me some kind of constraint called as restrict. On special permissions I can delete. Okay, normally it is not possible, like we can do such type of activity. All right, are you understanding? So if I want to delete the data, I don't want to delete the data. I want to just restrict the user not to use any delete operation. So I will use one option called as restrict. Reject option is something else. All packages all softwares will not allow me to do reject operation, but I can do restriction. Okay. Only when I use restrict option, only database administrator with highest privileges can do the operation. Okay, understanding? So perform the operation, but inform the user of the violation. Understanding? Or it's just like we are trying to do the operation, it will inform the administrator whether I want to do this kind of operation, whether you allow me or no, a kind of request will go to the administrator. Right, so moving on, so trigger additional updates so that violation is corrected. Cascade option, set null option. I can use either cascade option or set null option. So trigger additional updates means if I set such kind of constraints. So cascade option is you can also set, null option also you can set. So that whenever you try to execute by the user will, even if he is doing some kind of wrong, your data will go automatically and set. Okay, so user specified error action, so execute a user specified error correction routine. So inform the user to what type of error he is making, and tell him not to make any such kind of errors. Alright, so please, whenever we are trying to use any system, we will try to educate the users. Now you may be wondering why I told this. Now imagine system designers will be someone else, or application may be using by someone else. Do you remember the users called as parametric users or naive users? Do you remember this user type of user? Do you remember or you forgot? Come on, say something. Do you remember this? Say yes or no. Parametric or naive users. You have standalone users. Yes?
Yes, sir.
What is that parametric or naive users do, Baba? Yes. What does that mean?
Parametric means the concurrency control or the
Okay. Any example for
simul-
parametric or naive users? Ashwini, you're saying something?
simultaneously execution, sir.
It is concurrency. Simultaneous execution is concurrency. Parametric users or naive users. Okay, imagine you are going to bank. Bank, not ATM, bank. When you go to bank, you write maybe you are depositing or maybe you are doing your withdrawal. So you write the slip and pass it on to the person who is sitting, or you pass it on to the banker, or the moment you go, system is allocated to you. Yes, banker is doing, or he gives you the system to do it. Come on, say something. You write that slip and pass it. No, what the banker does, he performs the task. He is the authorized person who has been assigned to take care of the task. Yes or no? He knows the system very well. If you're trying to do a deposit, he knows which button to click, where to insert the data, where to update the data. Correct? If you're doing withdrawal, he knows he knows the process how to take care of the system. He knows what are the steps to withdraw the amount from your account. Are you understanding? Are you understanding? It is the system given to the user who's trying to perform the operations. Okay, we don't know who is the designer. We don't know who has built the application. Designer job is to create the application and give it to the user. The user will try to create the or perform or play with the data every time. Okay, so he should be well versed with all the processes in the application. Okay, so the person who is well versed with all the application, all well versed with all the procedures in the application, that person is called whom? Naive or parametric users. Alright, we have casual end users, sophisticated end users, standalone users. There are different type of users, but we one special person who is called as naive or parametric users, the user who is well versed with the procedures of the application. Okay. So the what is this? Execute a user specified error correction routine. That means we will try to educate the person who's trying to use the system, so that these are the type of errors which you need to take care. Alright. So what are the possible violations for each operation? So when can we may get error on doing the operations? So insert may violate any of the constraints. When can insert may violate the errors, or sorry, when can we get errors? It's not violating errors, it's violating the data. So when you try to observe on which all particular constraints you may get error, you have a list. So insert may violate any of the constraints. When your insertion will throw as an error, when if you have a domain constraint, key constraint, referential integrity constraint, or entity integrity constraints. So observe each one of them. Domain constraint is what? If any one of the attribute values provided for new tuple is not of the specified attribute domain. That means if you try to enter the data which is of not same data type which you are being initialized, obviously you will get an error. If you declare an int, if you try to insert char value, definitely will not take. Right. So moving on, a key constraint, if the value of a key attribute in the new tuple already exists in another tuple in the relation. So if you are trying to enter a duplicate value of the key which, then definitely that value will not be inserted. So if a foreign key value in the new tuple references a primary key value that does not exist in the referenced relation. So you're trying to refer a value which is not existing in primary key, then obviously the referential integrity constraint will have. So you have observed that parent key not found in your when I was inserting this particular with this problem only, I did not recommend you all to go with the online IDE kind of platform. There it was not accepting that it was directly accepting even if the value does not existing in primary key, which is absolutely wrong. According to the definition of our referential integrity, it was not throwing the violation error. It has to throw violation error. So only I switched on to some other say a platform, then showed you the correct working procedure. Alright, so whenever you are trying to observe any foreign key, see that value is existing in primary key. If not, definitely it will throw a referential integrity constraint. Now what is entity integrity? If the primary key value is null in the new tuple, if you are trying to insert a null value for any of the value which is specified as not null or a key attribute, definitely you will be thrown entity integrity error. Or sometimes if you try to enter a value for not null, if you try to write null value, or if you try to write the same unique value which is a try to a duplicate value, all that is a type of constraint. So when can a delete may throw error? So insert is done, delete is done, update two things are left out still. So any doubts before we go ahead? All of you guys are with me? All of you guys are with me? Yes? Any clarifications before we go ahead? All the doubts are clear? Yes? Any doubts before we go ahead? All right.
No, sir.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So delete, when can a delete may violate? So delete may violate only referential integrity. Referential integrity means you have primary key values, foreign key values. Sometimes it is called as parent records. Here you can say as child records. Now imagine I did not set any constraint for foreign key on, delete or update constraint I did not set. Okay. On update I did not set this constraint. Okay. Now parent key has some values like 1, 2, 3. Foreign key also has some same value. Okay. Now all these have records. So 1 also, 2 also, 3 also do have records. Now imagine I have one more value 4 in my parent key, but it is not there in foreign key. Now if I please remember I did not set these two constraints. Okay, on neither update nor delete I did not set. Only I set primary key and foreign key, that's it. Now if I try to delete foreign key first, it will delete without any problem. This also will delete without any problem. But if you try to delete this, not this, this is are still existing. If you try to delete this, what happens? It will not delete, it will throw an error stating that child records are referring or child records existing. You cannot delete this because there is a reference from parent to child, so you cannot delete. So if you do not have any constraints, then first delete from here, delete from foreign keys first, remove these parent and child records relation. When you remove this relationship with deleting here, then you can delete easily. Or else if you directly delete 4, there is no 4 here, so if you directly delete here 4, it will delete directly without any problem because there are no child records for 4. But for 1, if I have not deleted in foreign key, if I try to delete directly from primary key, it will throw me an error. So two constraints I can set. I can set for foreign key as on delete cascade. I can say cascade CASCADE, okay. On delete set null or on delete set default. Three things I can set for, okay. I can set three things: on delete cascade, on delete set null, on delete set default. Now what is this cascade means? What you are doing for primary key, do same for foreign key. If I delete primary key, foreign key also deletes. If I delete primary key, my foreign key will turn null. If I delete primary key, foreign key will set to default value. Okay? Okay? Understanding? You will write, for example, I will just show department number, int, primary key, default, 1. Understanding? I did not show how to set default value. No, this is how we can set. After primary key, give a space, write it default followed by value. Now this is 1 is what? Integer type you are writing outside. Suppose if it is a this is not int, this is char or varchar. Please write in quotes. Okay? Any doubts? Now moving on, if a primary key value of the tuple being deleted is referenced from other tuples in the database, then delete cannot be possible. So how the remedies are possible? We can do either restrict or cascade or set null. So restrict means either you are putting you are restricting not to delete the data. So cascade option means whatever you are trying to do option for primary key, same thing you do for foreign key. Set null means you can type the value as null for when you delete the primary keys. So finally, one of the above options must be specified during database design for each foreign key constraint. I cannot write on delete cascade, on delete set null, on delete default. No. Any one I should write. On update I will write 1. On update I will write cascade. On delete set default. Okay, I will not write multiple things. Understanding? I will not write on delete set null default, on delete set null. I will not write multiple for delete, neither for update. Understanding? Understanding? So lastly, so only one of the above options can be specified during database design. So when can we do the update operation? So update may violate domain constraints and not null constraints on attribute being modified. So when you are trying to update, check what type of domain constraint you have. Check the data type. Check the constraint whether it is not null or what. Check whether it belongs to any other constraint. So any of the other constraint may be violated depending on attribute being updated. So updating the primary key similar to a delete followed by an insert. So if I am updating primary key, either you have to delete all the foreign keys, then delete the primary key, then update the primary key, then update the accordingly insert the records in the foreign key. So that's again a tedious job. So in order to do that, best option is to set the constraint and leave. So need to specify similar options for delete as well. So you have to set the options. That's one of the best and easiest and efficient way. So updating a foreign key may violate referential integrity. So see that what your values you're trying to update, that should be a correct value. Okay. So updating an ordinary attribute, neither primary key nor foreign key can only violate with the domain constraint. So remember if you're trying to insert a value which is of no constraint, does not have any constraint, imagine like that. It will violate only domain constraint. If it is not from a proper specific domain, then definitely it will throw an error. Else it will carry out your task without any problem. Okay, any more doubts before we go ahead? So next comes the most important part of your databases. Any doubts before we go ahead? Guys, any doubts before we go ahead?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay. Tushar, you are there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Vaibhav?
Sir,
Yeah, you're there? Chinmay, you're there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anchal, you're there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, so far what we learned is just about understanding the things. Understanding with respect to the values, what will happen. Now we try to learn the most important part or the critical part of the relational concepts is relational algebra. You know why the word comes with algebra? Anybody have a guess? Why algebra? Yes? Why the word came as algebra? See, when we try to do any particular activity in our computer science domain, we always start with the things which is known to us. So the kind of operations what we try to apply are from basic mathematics. Okay, so the operations what we thought, how the data is, how the data is being worked on, or when we started with working on data, the first and foremost thought came is with respect to mathematics, because that is where we define the relationship of the data from one to the other. Understood? Same way how we try to bring on operations in our data, in the sense with respect to mathematics only we start with the data. Okay, so the picture came as relational algebra. So what kind of concepts of your mathematics apply to our data, and how we try to perform the operations in our relational data, that's the bigger picture. Alright, so the basic set of operations for relational model is known as relational algebra. These operations enable a user to specify basic retrieval requests. Retrieval means trying to display the data. Remember, these operations are just to display the data, but not to change the existing data. The data no doubt is manipulated in display, but not in the actual database or not from actual storage. The result of retrieval is a new relation which may have been formed from one or more relations. The algebra operations thus produce new relations which may be further manipulated using operations of the same algebra. I am trying to give you more and more confusion right now. I think like that. This is what I'm doing. You guys are getting confused with what I'm talking right now. Right on. I will let you know each and every word. The sequence of relational algebra operations forms a relational algebra expression whose result will also be a relation that represents the result of a database query or a retrieval query. I think I have confused you a lot. What is algebra? Why we start talking about only algebra, or why mathematics? Right? Now, we have written one query, select star from table. Okay, say stood. So I display some data here. Now this is what I did. I did something, what, select star from stood. I have written one query to retrieve the data from database. So this is a kind of operation what I am trying to do on the data. So what is displayed is one specific table with the records. that record is a temporary relation created by the retrieval query. Okay, try to understand this. So what is relational algebra? It is the basic set of operations. I try to perform operations on the data, that itself is called as relational algebra. Okay, now these operations enable user to specify basic retrieval requests. What are these operations? These operations are the basic retrieval requests. So user asks for something, the data is provided. That is nothing but your relational algebra. So the result of the retrieval is a new relation, okay, which may be being formed from one or more relations. That means when I say select star from stood, this is the result of this query what we have been returned. So for this query, one new table is created and displayed. So for your request, this is the retrieval. Based on this retrieval, one table is created and displayed. This is the new type of relation what we have. This may be from either from single table or multiple table. Sometimes I may write my query with different ways. So select, I write select USN from stood, comma, grade. I imagine that grade and stood are being related. So where USN is equal to USN. Okay, this is from S.USN, this is from G.USN. So name comma USN comma name. So I will get one result for this query. So this is result of multiple tables, one display. So again one new relation is created and displayed here. Okay, this is what this may be used for further operations. I may write one more query here and take this result for one more operation. Okay, see what it says. The result of the retrieval is a new relation which may have been formed from one or more relations. Now earlier one select star from stood was from a single table. This is from multiple tables, multiple relations. Then the algebra operations thus produce new relations. What is produced? This is the new relation. This may be formed or it may be manipulated by further relational algebra operations. It may be used for further relational operations. Okay, so the sequence of relational algebra operations form a relational algebra expression. So what we try to do is in the form of some expression. So this I'll just write on this. So I have one query, inner query and outer query. I have some expression here, some expression here. Maybe some operator here I may use like n, or okay, I will try to write one query. Just okay, say I will write select SSN from employee, where D number in, I will write one more query here, select D number from department, where D name is equal to say some head office. Okay, so this is my query. So I have two queries now. Select SSN from employee where department number is equal to some value. That means this will select all the SSNs of all the employees of all departments, because there is no condition here. Condition should be satisfied when this will have two results. This is one set of result, this is other set of result. So select D number from department where D name is equal to head. So it will select the tuple of only pertaining to head, department name head. So department name is equal to head, that department number will be carried here in this inner query. And outer query has set of all values, and there is some expression running between these two new relations. So when I execute this, I will get one new relation here. When I execute this, I will get one new relation here. Now these two will have a kind of expression running through which I will get the final result. Understanding? Understanding, that's what it says, whose result will be a relation that represents the result of the database query. I may write a single query or a nested query or whatever, whichever is convenient to me, but I will get all the values in the form of expressions. Okay, so in order to understand these expressions, we need to know on relational operations. That we will see from the next class. Okay, we have unary relational operations, binary relational operations, and so on. Right. So the very most important topics are from the relational operations. Okay, that is very important for your career. So anytime when you want to do any operations, or whenever you want to write any queries in your career, this is what makes you to start. This is the kickstart for your career in order to write queries. Every day you will be writing queries, every day you will be working on these operations. Alright, in placements also you will be given multiple types of queries to write. So all queries, when you are writing, you need to understand first these relational operations. Okay, so any doubts before we stop? Let me download your attendance. Any doubts before we could stop? Or any comments?
No, sir.
No?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Any comments or any clarifications before we stop? Any doubts? Please clarify everything before you understand. Please don't understand the things in a wrong way. Try to understand each and every word more clearly. Alright, so I think there are no doubts. Shall we continue in the next class? Okay.